there's your 1 to the 5, 7 sus. A great progression. You could do some fun stuff as well, like go up a half step, then down a half step. You know? This is the other thing you should know. When doing that Latin, a lot of times, like guys will do an introduction, which is okay. I'll work with musicians in which they're just they're playing up a half step like that. So it goes from a C up to a D flat. Right? So all these little things that you can, you can utilize in your playing. Now, what I suggest you do is, if you've taken the time, you've practiced that first progression, now pause the video, do exactly the same thing with that second one. And what I would suggest you do is like, really just kind of like get it down, get the notes down, right? Okay? Feel comfortable with them, but then really start to like just kind of like, you know, see how I'm just like trying to like really see, you know, like, can my hands move to that voicing quickly? You might just practice that left hand by itself. I'm using thumb and middle finger to pinky and thumb. Kind of cool though. You see how you can like sometimes like these little things, you know, I'll play this and I'm like, oh, I like that sound. I got to remember that. That could come in handy. You know, that could come in handy at some point. That's nice. I might do something like that just to make it easier to move faster. See what I did? I took that middle note up and that middle note up. So this is an example of how I got something set here, but now I can start to move and I can start to change it. Now that's another little thing I can throw into my bag of tricks that I can use at some point. Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, so you see how I can kind of like incorporate that into an introduction as well, right? All right, and now the last thing is we want to try adding some motion to this. So I've already shown you right here how to add some motion, but let's say I'm just going to create like a ballad type introduction. I have this chord and I have this chord. Well, look at what I did here. Sorry, not that. Now something very, very, very important to notice is that in the right hand and in the left hand, I am playing exactly the same notes that I was just playing here. The only difference is that I'm starting to break up these chords. Now I want you to just kind of like, let's pause there for a second, because this concept I think gets glossed over by students a lot of times. They just think, oh yeah, okay, break up the chords, okay? That is where all the power is. Okay, if you're looking in terms of like, hey, look, I want to learn how to accompany myself while I'm singing. You know, I got these chords, but I don't know how to create an arrangement. That's it. That is the power right there. You break up the chords. Now, the next question you're probably asking yourself is, all right, Willie, I break up the chords. How do I break up those chords? Okay, and what I'm going to tell you is that there is no one set way. But then you might say, well, that doesn't really help me all that much now, does it? So then what I would say to you is, okay, well now break it down so that when you're breaking up those chords, you start with just a very particular pattern in which, okay, just try going down. Now, what rhythm do I use? Quarter notes and eighth notes. Think simple. 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. There it is if I'm in 3/4 time. 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3. I could use that for an introduction to Moon River, most definitely. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so that works perfectly as an introduction to Moon River. So I was just going right on down in eighth notes.